Welcome. I'm your host, Jesse Sawyer, nationally recognized inclusive fitness trainer, Silver Sneaker Flex instructor. Find out more about me by visiting my website at www.jessesawyer.com. Now, if you're a Silver Sneaker instructor, if you're a Silver Sneaker participant, if you're the aging population, the senior population, you could be a disability population, even ambulatory population like myself. What I'm about to demonstrate today is a basic back row with a dumbbell. Now, there's different theories behind this. I'm going to show you the most common way I see individuals doing it, and then I'm going to show you more the modification that's really going to engage the mid-lat so that you're actually engaging through that motion and it's not strictly a bicep movement. And you're isolating a little bit more than doing just the traditional exercise that you might be introduced to by a Silver Sneaker instructor. So again, if you're a Silver Sneaker instructor, this is a great tutorial for you. If you're in the aging or senior population or even an ambulatory individual, this would be a great tutorial as well. I'm going to use a lightweight dumbbell. Heavier does matter at times, but only if you keep form. And if you can't create form, then work on lower and working your way up, because you need to understand how the back works. And in order to engage the back muscle, you need to be able to, one, stretch it out, but then the back muscle, the lats run from, or they have the insertion point from the glenohumeral joint, right here, down into the spine, so it runs on a diagonal motion. So in order to grab that, you need to stretch, and then you need to come in and down in order to get it. So you got to think about in and down as you would be doing a lat pull down. It's the same motion as you are doing a back row as well. You want to go in and down, or down and in, however you want to think about that. In, down, down, in. You want to come towards your spine because you're trying to create that V of the back. And the only way to do that is through certain exercises and doing them correctly, so you're not just hinge motions and hitting that bicep particularly. So I'm going to show you from the standing position, then I'm going to show you from the seated position, and typically the standing position is the best position, and typically unilaterally, because once you do it bilaterally, a lot of times you're going to sway or use hinge motion too much, or swing through that motion and activate more than just your back muscles. So lightweight, 5 pounds. Gonna use this chair, again, modern chair, so I don't got the high back. And if you were at the gym, you wanna put that bench on an angle so that you can hold yourself on this angle, right? Because you wanna be in more of that 45-degree position so that you can just let it dangle. So you see how I distangle? I'll see lots of individuals, instructors as well, where you're just teaching this motion right here. Some have them stand up, but I'm gonna have you hinge a little bit, bend those knees, and they just pull through, right? Right? So what happens here is, are you hitting some of that lat? Of course you're hitting some of that lat, right? You're just pulling through. But you're also just hinge motion. Think about the hinge motion. I'm just bending my elbow and I'm pulling up. So I'm getting some bicep, I'm getting some back, I'm getting some delt, I'm getting some core, but I'm not actually stretching out that latissimus dorsi and really focusing on my back, because I'm doing so many other motions that are targeting so many other muscle groups. So in order to do this exercise correctly, you kind of want to just let it drift forward, let it stretch you. See how I kind of just I'm almost rotating my body so I get that stretch, but I'm going to keep my hand at a little slight arch. So it's not going to straighten out, it's going to stay in that slight arch, but it's going to come forward, and then I'm going to just rock with it. So see how I kind of go down, Bentley just got hit in the noggin, and then I'm rocking through, and I'm driving my elbow down and in, or in and down, which looks like I'm coming back, but I'm coming back towards my spinal column. And I'm just rocking and rolling through it. Just like this. Again, it's 5 pounds, so it's much harder to show in a 5-pound motion, but again, I'm going down and in, or in and down, depending on how you interpret this motion. And I'm just kind of rocking through it. But now I'm really just stretching out that lat, and I'm targeting that lat instead of just going like this and pulling through, which again, you do hit some of the back. You're just not hitting as much back as you would like, so you're not gonna get as much hypertrophy or growth. Let me show you the other side, which would be the left side. I'm not gonna show you bilaterally because it does put a lot of pressure on that compression. And unless you're like supporting your head or you have really good deep core muscles, it's not really good for an aging population because you're gonna get too much forward flexion, bone density, osteoporosis, and next thing you know, you're getting some slip disc or you're adding to your spinal stenosis. Right hand here, left hand. Remember, you can just drive through, right? You're gonna see this in a lot of classes. Is it gonna target some back? Yes. Gonna get some rear delt? Yes. Gonna get more bicep? Yes. Very much more bicep. Or you can kind of just bend the elbow, keep it a little slight, hold yourself, let it stretch, keeping it bent, and rock through. Where I'm just trying to drive it down and in and down. And I'm just trying to rotate it in. So I'm trying to really squeeze into that lat. I'll show you rear motion real quick just so you kind of see, or that angled motion where I'm kind of just letting it here and then I'm driving it through. Where again, this is a very difficult exercise to utilize in your class or teach it. So a lot of times what you're going to see is you're going to see your instructor teaching it like this, which again, it works. They're going to teach it like that in the seated position. They're going to teach it like this in the one arm position, or you can do it in the seated position as well and try to work on getting that motion with two. Bring my feet back a little bit more. And by keeping those elbows at that slight angle, right? Think of Tai Chi, think of Bentley right here, and rock through. Again, really hard to do this in the seated position, so you're going to see more people just go like this and pull through. It's going to be more of a bicep exercise. I'll show you from the side, because standing again on that angle, on that hinge, is the best way to activate that lat, because you're going to get that stretch, and you want to get that natural stretch. And this is really hard to naturally stretch because it creates forward flexion. It makes you bend, and it puts pressure on that lower lumbar. So it's not typically, you know, it's counterindicated a lot of times, but you're going to just try to rock through. And you see I'm kind of just sitting up and rocking through as I do this motion. Again, it's really difficult to do that in the seated position. So the best way to do it is unilateral for those instructors out there, for those individuals that are newer, for that aging population, for that senior population, and even for that ambulatory population. Single one-arm cables or dumbbells with some support, keeping that arch, letting that stretch, and keeping that 45-degree angle the whole way through, where you're not locking that elbow out and you're not pulling through, getting that stretch. And some will say, hey, what if I turn my hand in supinated position, or I turn my hand in pronated position? Pronated is the best position, and that's a different video for a different time. Right now, keep it neutral and keep it safe. There you go. Back row, the best way, unilaterally standing with some support. Peace, my friends. Say bye to Bentley. Lincoln's over there sleeping, and we'll be back with another video shortly.